Hello, everybody. Jason here with Jason Davis Corner. I'm here today with George Garcia from Southwest Institute for Families and Children. George, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is George Garcia. I'm Executive Director of Southwest Institute for Families and Children. We're a nonprofit organization here in Phoenix, Arizona.
All right. Today we're going to talk a bit about supported decision making. So, George, what is supported decision making?
Well, a short definition of supported decision making is just a less restrictive alternative to guardianship.
All right. And what how does supported decision making help with guardianship?
Right. So, with supported decision making, it unlike guardianship, in which the rights of a person with a disability are taken away by the court system and given to a guardian. In supported decision making, the person with the disability maintains their rights as an adult, but a support system is developed around that person with supporters, volunteer supporters, who help that person in making decisions for themselves. So, for instance, they will help that person understand what are their options when it comes to making choices, explaining things in a way that they're able to understand it, understanding the consequences of each one of their decisions, so that the person with the disability is able to make a well-informed decision. They maintain their rights as an adult, as I mentioned, and best of all, it's not something that has to go through the courts. So you do not have to file any paperwork with the courts. You do not have to get lawyers. You do not have to go see a judge. You just develop a support system around an individual, and they're able to make their own decisions.
Right. That sounds pretty good. How did you get involved in the supported decision making process here in Arizona?
All right. Well, a grant came out by the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, and we partnered with our SWI partnered with Arizona Center for Disability Law at the Arc of Arizona, and we worked together to develop a supported decision making program here. And what we first started before, when we set out to create this program and develop a curriculum, we first wanted to get an understanding of what was people's understanding of um, guardianship, and then also alternatives to guardianship. And what we found was that people knew very little of both. Even parents who had guardianship of their children didn't quite understand the extent as to how guardianship affected their children. Um, they didn't realize that all their rights were taken away, um, that that there were alternatives to guardianship that they could have pursued, such as supported decision making or even powers of attorneys that could just be as beneficial as guardianship to their children. So that really um, set us on a course of how we needed to educate the public about supported decision making.
Why do you think there was such a lack of knowledge regarding supported decision making and guardianship in those areas?
People just don't know. When we spoke with some parents, they told us that as their children were nearing the age of 18, they were told by either their teachers or their child's teacher, transition specialist, that they needed to pursue guardianship because they would no longer have the right to make decisions for their children. And so, out of fear that they would no longer be able to help their children, they were just told to go into guardianship. And so, uh, nothing was really explained to them as to what does guardianship mean. So, the idea that um, their children no longer have any rights to make decisions for themselves, don't have the right to vote or to choose if they want to work or not. All that stuff is taken away. It was never really explained to them. So they don't know about alternatives, and they're told scared into going into guardianship, and that's become an issue. But that's not to say that guardianship is not a good option for some people. For some people, guardianship is the right choice. But what we want to make sure is that people know that there are alternatives to it, and guardianship is not your only option.
All right, and being this is a self-advocacy corner, if I was an advocate and I wanted to be more involved in this process of educating people about what supported decision making is, how would I do that?
Well, that's a very good thing, to go out and educate people about it. I think that's the way that change is going to come about here in Arizona. So if you do want to learn more about supported decision making, you can visit our website at swifamilies.org and clicking on the tab of supported decision making. There you can learn about what is supported decision making. You can download our curriculum that we developed, that we used in our trainings. And you can also view videos in which we go through each chapter of the curriculum, and also download the worksheets, and including templates for supported decision making agreements. And once you learn about supported decision making, spread the word. I mean, that's the only way that we really will make change, by making sure that people know about it.
What do you think the ultimate goal here is with supported decision making? If you had a crystal ball, what would be your what would be your wish?
My wish is that people are not unnecessarily put in guardianship, or people are not having their rights taken away unnecessarily. Like I said, guardianship is a good option for some people. I do not dispute that. But there are a lot of people who are put in guardianship who don't need it, who are able to make decisions for themselves with the right type of supports. And if we can prevent people from having the rights taken away, so that people with disabilities are able to make their own decisions, live the lives that they want, that's the ultimate goal.
Right, and I think guardianship is a good thing. We just want to give people options to live the best life they can possible.
Right, and the key difference between supported decision making and guardianship is that the supporters are there to support people with disabilities, to understand their choices, but they're not there to make the decisions for the person with the disability. That person with the disability maintains their rights to make their own decisions, live with their own decisions, and keep their freedoms.
Yeah, and that's what we want. Is we want people to keep their freedoms as best they can. So, thanks, George, for coming on today, and I hope to see you again sometime. And
Absolutely.
all right.